What's happening YouTube? This is John nerding out with cards, and what I'm doing tonight is a video response to John P collects cards. He's asked us to list off some players that we wish we could have watched play. I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and the fact that uh, I'm gonna got a couple players, but then I also have a team. So with that team, I really wish that I could have watched the 1934 Cardinals play. More affectionately known as the Gas House Gang. One of the things is like reading up on the history of baseball. If you read a biography on a player, it's pretty generic. It's them growing up, it's them coming up in baseball, the highlights of their career, and then, well, the end. And then, but with teams though, you think of like the 1979, like We Are Family, Pittsburgh Pirates. Um, you read about those teams, and it's that one singular year, right? And so you get to learn a lot more. I definitely find those to be a more enjoyable reads. But I said the Gas House Gang, super rich history. And so yeah, I kind of wish I could have watched them play. I got some cards here that I wanted to share for that team. So the first is going to be Jesse Haynes. I got his Gaudy card. Major League Baseball Hall of Famer. Even though some might say that he shouldn't be. But what's really cool about him is that he was on the 1926 team, the Cardinals' first World Series championship. Also, the team that beat the New York Yankees, which was essentially the same lineup as Murderers Row. And so that's really cool to have a link between that piece in Cardinals history. You got right here, you got Joe Ducky Medwick. There's some creases in this card. It's kind of what I target for my binder. Really cool name in baseball history. He's the last Triple Crown winner in the National League. And this is the card that got me into the Diamond Star set. I know it gets a lot of love on the YouTube these days because of the artwork and whatnot. Super, super great card. So then, with you got Dizzy Dean and you got Frankie Frisch, two Major League Baseball Hall of Famers, and their cards can get a little bit expensive, especially Dizzy Dean. And I was able to cheat a little bit by getting them on the same card. This is cheaper than both of their individual cards. And then at the same time, because it's that team, I got a couple more players that were on the Gas House Gang. You see like Tex Carlton right there. The back of it, if you collected a bunch of cards, they'd make a bigger picture. But yeah, these Gaudy 4-in-1s are pretty damn cool. Like I said, I was able to get Frankie Frisch and Dizzy Dean on the same card. Filled two holes in my Cardinals Hall of Fame collection with one piece of cardboard. That was great. And then with Dizzy, you also got Daffy Dean. The Dean brothers who dominated that World Series. From what I understand, he didn't really like to be called Daffy Dean. He liked to be called Paul Dean because, well, that's his name. But, it's one of those things in baseball history, right? Nicknames. And technically, this is a Giants card. But I targeted this because it said Daffy on the front. I thought that was really cool. Another super colorful player on that team had a dominant World Series performance, was class of 2017 Cardinals Hall of Fame inductee Pepper Martin. Another great Diamond Stars card. You can see the condition is what it is, but Love this card. Kind of think that, I want to get his DeLong card. I've learned about that in the last couple years, and I don't have a card from that set, so I think that'd be pretty cool. But for now, I got this sweet, excuse me, Diamond Stars card. So that's the 1934 Cardinals, the Gas House Gang. Like I said, I really wish I could have watched them play. I mean, just imagine being in the grandstands, Sportsman's Park, 1934 World Series against the Detroit Tigers, Dizzy Dean on the mound. I think that would have been amazing. The next player I wish I could have seen play is Red Shandies. A lot of, when you hear about him or you learn about him, like I have, is there's so much about him being a baseball lifer. He comes up in 1945 as a left fielder because Musial's off at the war. Musial comes back. He becomes, he goes back to second base. He's on great World Series teams. And he plays for the Braves, part of more World Series teams, manager, coach. He's around spring training every year. I mean, he was in uniform from 45 until damn near his death, but there's not a whole lot of description about his actual play. You read a lot of the back of his baseball cards, and it talks about his fielding percentage, but we don't really think of second basemen with their defense, right? We think of, up the middle, you got your catcher, you got your shortstop, you got your center fielder. We think about third base a lot, the hot corner. But we don't really focus on the defensive play of second baseman. But it's just one of those things, like his career is just so generalized. And I really wish I could have watched him play. I got this 1954 Red Heart. Absolutely love this card. If you ask me, I think this is the best card in the set. Yeah, I know there's the Musial that everybody loves. There's the Mickey Mantle. Well, it's a Mickey Mantle, so you have to like it. But for me, I think this is the best card. I call it the Triple Red. Because it's Red Shandies with a red background. Red Heart. I got this about a year ago or so. Sent it in to grading through my LCS. Got a 5. Amazing grade, amazing condition for this card. But yeah, I really wish I could have watched him play. The last player I'm going to mention is Ken Boyer. This isn't a tremendous picture of him. He's bunting. But, it's his rookie card, and we all love rookie cards, right? But when I think about Ken Boyer, it's stories of his defense. They're at third base. Excuse me. But then, you also think about the fact that he was a team captain on a team that had Stan Musial, on a team that had Red Shandies. And he lost developmental time due to military service. 1 full season, which I honestly think set him back 2 years. But he's got a tremendous World Series highlight by hitting the grand slam that won the game in a 64 World Series. He's winning Gold Gloves. Ron Santo didn't start winning Gold Gloves until Ken Boyer's back betrayed him. I was watching a video. They were talking about the Eras Committee. I mentioned that before. And you had guys like Chris from Missouri, trying to downplay Ken's defense. And it's like, that guy's a Royals fan. But you read up on Ken Boyer like I have, and it's just like, I wish I could have watched him play the hot corner. You know, he had a tremendous bat, but God, I wish I could have watched him play. So anyway, to go along with the video response, John P. Collects Cards had asked us to shout out a few channels. And once again, I'm just going to cheat a little bit. So anyway, the first channel I want to shout out is Redneck Collector. You know, he helped me get on the YouTube. He's given me tons of positive reinforcement, words of encouragement, and I can't thank him enough. Especially being another St. Louis guy, you know, being another person in the collector's verse that kind of like-minded, right? You know, he's always wearing Cardinals hats in his videos. Another channel I want to shout out is Shoebox Legends. Shane, again, another tremendous supporter. Tons of words of encouragement, commenting on my videos. I really appreciate that from you guys. Another channel I want to shout out is Peacemaker Cards. Yeah, I'm a homer. I'm a St. Louis guy. But, you know, he's subscribed to my channel. He's commented. But at the same time, it's like, you know, he's on the YouTube sharing his Barry Larkin collection. So it's really cool to find another player collector like myself, even if it's different player, different team. I love watching that stuff. Now, here's where I'm going to cheat a little bit, right? So there's another person who's consistently commenting on my videos, but it was through those comments that I'm just like, man, I kind of wish you'd make your own videos. And so I wrote this down so I wouldn't screw it up, but it's Amy Hayes 7449. And they've communicated that they're a Cubs fan, so quite the opposite of myself. But at the same time, you know, they're talking about their Ryan Sandberg collection. They're talking about their Mark Grace collection. They're talking about a league leader card collection. It's like, that would be fun to see. I love player collections. They got two significant players in my mind. One's a Hall of Famer, yeah. One's not a Hall of Famer, but I think is, you know, what did he have? He had the most hits out of anybody in the 90s or something like that, or close to it, in Mark Grace. And then you saw my last video what I think about league leaders cards, and they got a significant league leaders collection, and it's like, that would be fun to see. And so, you know, when you hear people on the YouTube talking about, if you're thinking about it, do it. You know, like I said, myself, you know, I like seeing other people's players collections, especially if they're different players, right? You know, we've seen a lot of the players that everybody collects, but what about those other players? You know, like I said, Peacemaker Cards with his Barry Larkin collection. I just think that that'd be fun to see. So if Amy Hayes 7449, you're thinking about, you know, getting on the YouTube and making your own videos, I highly recommend it. The collection that you've described to me would be amazing to see. So those are my shout outs. Those are my teams, my players for this video response. So John P. Collects Cards. Great videos, great channel. I enjoy it. And thank you for the idea. You know, this is a lot of fun to do. I don't care about the giveaway at all. Hey, it's something to talk about. Baseball cards and people. So thank you very much. You all have a good one.